Hey, fellow YouTubers, JJ the Trucker coming to you from Texas. Just left New Mexico, and now I'm in Texas, coming up to El Paso on the 10. And special treat as far as the view. Not only do you get to see beautiful El Paso during this, but if you look off in the distance straight ahead, I wish I could zoom, but zooming while driving is just not advisable. But if you look up off in the distance, you'll see a town. You'll see some houses going up to the hill. That is Mexico. That's right. We are looking over the Rio Grande, over the border, over the wall. Yes, they have the wall out here. And yes, you are looking at Mexico. In fact, here we go. I'm going to turn the camera right there so you can really see it. Everything right there, that's Mexico right there. That's it. That's how close we get when coming through El Paso. I'm going to actually get a little bit closer, but the real view is if I could turn the camera even more, but the mount won't let me do that. But yeah, all those houses and stuff that you see are in Mexico. Those hills, those are in Mexico. Oh, buddy, stay in your lane. All right. There we go. There's the good view right there. Everything you're seeing, all those homes right there, those are all in Mexico. All right, from my vantage point, I can look over, I can see the wall and everything. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it from there. So yeah, quick little glimpse there of Mexico. There we go. All right, anyways, I'm happy. I'm in a good mood. I got some good news to share. But before I do that, it's correction time. Yeah, I kind of feel like those 24-hour news stations. You know, they say what they want to say, and then later on, when nobody's watching, they come out and make their corrections and say, "Yeah, sorry, we have some corrections." Well, there's another good view right there of Mexico. So anyways, two corrections to make. Well, one correction and one clarification. All right, so in my previous video, I mentioned the Air Force Base. Hold on, let me get over. Okay, got a little closer than I wanted to there. All right, so I mentioned the Air Force Base, where I saw the space shuttle take off and land, and we were going to be passing it. I mentioned it was Vandenberg Air Force Base, and that was wrong. No, it's Edwards Air Force Base. Same base. That's the one where I saw the shuttle take off and land, or not take off, but land. Never took off from there. Sorry, don't need more corrections. So, by the way, here's all of El Paso now. This is the old El Paso area first, and then we'll be going into the newer El Paso area after this. So, no, it's Edwards Air Force Base, not Vandenberg. I always get those two confused because I knew somebody named Edward Vandenberg. And so I always used to tease him about his name, about what the two Air Force bases. Edwards Air Force Base, Vandenberg Air Force Base. They named both of them after you, that kind of stuff. And I guess karma's now getting me, saying, you know, now for teasing him, you're going to be forever confused about which Air Force Base is which. So yeah, karma got me. So anyways, yeah, there's the main correction. Second one is that airport I was mentioning with all the airplane storage. I mentioned that it was somewhere near Bakersfield, but didn't know what the city was. It's actually in the city of Mojave, in the Mojave Desert. It's Mojave Airport. So there you go, some updated information for you guys. All right, so yeah, New El Paso, I don't think you really get a good view of New El Paso coming this direction. Going the other direction, heading westbound, you'd get a really good view of it. They've got a big old sculpture out there, big old red kind of artwork sculpture. And why is this guy going so slow? Man. I know the speed limit. Stop beeping at me, Bev. I know. I mean, the speed limit is 60, but this guy's going like 50. Oh, we got got a string of police coming in the fast lane. Ooh, what's going on here? guys see anybody flying by? It looks like a high-speed pursuit type of stuff. Man. There you go. You guys see those guys now. After somebody, and somebody's in the fast lane is not moving over. Here, let me, there we go. They moved over. All right. I got to get back over because this is an exit-only lane. Okay. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so there's this art type. I have no idea what it is. It looks like a big X, huge red X, stands out. It's taller than anything else. It's in El Paso. If you know what it is, drop a comment on that. I'm curious. I always mean to look it up after I stop, for the day, but then I always forget about it. So, anyways, let's see. So I finished off that load. That was going to Turlock, California, middle of nowhere, Central California, farmland area. And then I was like, what now? So remember that load I was telling you about coming out of Irving, Texas? Okay, it was an over $10,000 load. Well, the agent was up front from the get-go saying, look, we're pretty sure we're going to get these loads. It's multiple things, multiple locations, multiple destinations, all that stuff. We're pretty sure, but the customer is not ready to clarify it yet. I probably won't know until Wednesday. I'm like, well, I'm going to need to know before Wednesday if I'm heading to Dallas or not. But you know what? I also figured, so what? There's no harm in heading to Dallas, because if I start heading to Dallas and that load doesn't pan out, well, it's Dallas. There's always something good or decent coming out of the Dallas area. And if for some reason there isn't, well, you've got all the other big surrounding cities. You've got San Antonio not too far away. You've got Laredo if you wanted to. Houston, Amarillo. Actually, there's not a lot coming out of Amarillo. But you could even deadhead up to Oklahoma. It's not that bad. But Dallas, I've never been disappointed getting out of Dallas. So I figured, I'm going to go ahead and start making my way. Even though this isn't a booked load yet, I'm going to go ahead and make my way. Ended up finding a load going from Los Angeles out to Dallas. So yeah, I did have to deadhead about 5.5, 6 hours to get this load, which is a lot of deadhead for me. But this load paid really well, which was good because loads coming out of California were not paying all that well for some reason. I did find out later what it was. All the drivers are making a mad dash exodus out of California because of the fuel prices. So I figure they probably think, $4 is better than $5, per gallon. So making a mad dash, and that's when I was trying to make a mad dash out as well. So the rates were just not good coming out of California. But I found this load coming out of LA. Granted, had to go to LA, but this load paid really well. It was not a direct shipper, but this agent knew what was going on. They knew about the load. They were well informed, which always gives me more confidence. And something that somebody told me, some wise person, some logical person, yes, Johnson's Logic, better say it right, Ross, he told me, hey, when it comes to these non-direct guys, you can wheel and deal with them a lot more than you can with the direct shippers, because direct shippers, it's generally a set price. What you get is what you get. These indirect guys, you can wheel and deal with them sometimes. So I wheeled and dealed a little bit, got a good pay out of this one. I was like the first person to call him. And I also told him, I said, look, I know fuel surcharge is set out of California at 62 cents a mile, but with the current fuel issues going on, I'm going to need at least 75 cents. He goes, all right, no problem, done. Sweet. Very nice. So, 75 cents. Granted, the report just came out after I picked up the load, and the report actually says 77 cents now. So, dang it, I still lost 2 cents out of that. That's all right. It worked out. I'm fine. It's a good paying load. So, I'm happy. So, I am heading over toward the Dallas area, and got the news this morning that the dream load is confirmed. So let me tell you about this load. Now, I'm going to tell you everything that I am currently permitted to tell you. There's a lot of stuff I cannot tell you, so please don't ask. If I didn't mention it or didn't say it, it's because I can't. At least not until the whole thing's over, and even then I got to watch what I'm saying. All right, so you know how normally I don't mention money and numbers and all that stuff? Well, now that I've gone over fuel surcharge, that kind of stuff, I am going to go over a little bit of the money stuff, because I do get a lot of questions like, what do you consider as a good paying load? So I really don't go by the per mile. I go by the per day, and I've talked about that before. Reason being is you could have something that pays $10 per mile, but it's only going 50 miles, and you got to sit on it for 3 days, for the whole weekend. That's $500 for how many days? Forget that. I'm not even going to take a load that's $500. You kidding? So the per mile means very, very little to me. What really means a lot to me is the per day rate. My goal per day is $1,200, okay, or more. Now, to put that in comparison, just so everybody's comparing apples to apples here, at $1,200 is gross revenue. That's before anything is taken out. That's the amount that's on the load board. That's before Landstar's cut. That's before fuel surcharge is calculated. That's before any of my expenses. That's before fuel, before truck payment, before anything and everything. Okay? That's the gross amount. $1,000 or $1,200 per day. My minimum that I want to take is $1,000 per day. If I'm taking anything under $1,000, it's because I'm desperate. I'm either in southern Florida or Odessa, Texas. You get what I'm saying? So, $1,200 a day. To compare and kind of give you a sense of what that really means, because we've gone over the fuel surcharge, and then there are other factors and stuff like that. But when we talk about what I end up actually getting out of that money, Landstar's cut is 35%, so I should be getting 65%, except with the fuel surcharge and the accessorials and stuff like that, I generally end up with about 70 to 75% of that gross amount. Okay, so kind of factor that in there. Now, after fuel and after insurance and after permits and the normal deductions that they're going to take out of my settlement, I usually end up with about 50 to 55% of that gross. That does not include the truck payment. I've got to stress that enough, because with Prime, they take the truck payment out of your settlement. At Landstar, they don't. Truck payment's separate, okay? And everybody's truck payment's going to be different, so I'm not even going to factor that in. But know that after fuel and permits and insurance, not health insurance, but the business and truck insurance and all that stuff, I'm taking home, or I'm getting in my settlement about 50% of the gross revenue. All right, roughly, give or take. Some weeks are higher, some weeks are lower. The more revenue there is, and the less driving, the higher that percentage is going to be, and vice versa. All right. So now that you've heard all that, let me tell you this. This load that I'm taking from Irving, Texas, and delivering it to Irving, Texas, is paying $17,000 gross. $17,000. You heard that right. 17,000. 17000. Yes. Whew. Now, it is 18 and a half days. So now you're already saying, wait a minute, that's lower than your minimum. That should be 18,500. But there's going to be a lot of sitting. This is one of those types of things where I'm picking up from the Dallas area, or from Irving, delivering it somewhere a few days later. It's already getting like 3 days longer than or 2 days longer than it's going to take to get there. So I'm sitting for 2 days. I get it unloaded, and then I sit for 3 days while they use whatever they unloaded from me, and then I pick up the same exact stuff, take it 3 hours up the road, but it's not due for 3 days. So there's more sitting, and then I unload it, wait for 3 more days, load it all back up, and then drive it on back to Odessa and drop it off. Not Odessa, Irving. So a lot of sitting. So when you're sitting, again, thanks to the logic from Ross Johnson and Johnson's Logic, we had this discussion as well. When you're sitting, you're not using fuel, you're not putting miles on your truck, so maintenance costs are not being incurred, fuel costs are not being incurred, so your sitting costs are a lot lower. I figured, okay, yeah, that's right, especially now with the fuel prices the way they are. So once you factor all that in, yes, $17,000 for 18 and a half days where I'm only going to be driving a handful of those days. Yeah, that's good. Not to mention the way they did the fuel surcharge. They bumped that thing way up, $1.05 a mile. So yeah, huge fuel surcharge. And they added in some extra accessorials at a very generous amount. And they did it as loading and unloading, which I get 100% of. So the little trick on that, if you're a Landstar driver and you don't know this yet, you probably might be new, I don't know, but somebody told me this early on. I'll pass this along. Stop pay. Don't settle for stop pay. Okay, if it's a multi-stop load, they'll throw on stop pay and they'll say it's an accessorial. Problem is, Landstar gets 35% of your stop pay. So is it really an accessorial? Is it you're not getting anything extra from it. You're not earning anything extra from stop pay. However, for every stop that you do, you're going to have to re-secure the load. Okay, and so you can either have them add it on as securement. Okay, instead of stop pay, you tell them, no, don't give me stop pay, give me securement pay. Or what they generally will do instead of securement is loading and unloading. Yeah, gee, thanks for cutting me off, buddy. Appreciate it. Loading and unloading. That, either one, securement or loading and unloading, you get 100% of that accessorial, just like fuel surcharge. So yeah, it's another way to kind of bump up that percentage that you get. So yeah, this load, I'm getting about 80% of the total. Yeah, not 70%, but about 80% because of that. And my fuel costs are going to be low. Oh yeah, I'm happy. This is a great load. Very, very happy. I wish this were a regular deal. I've already checked and it's not. It's just a one-time. But man, if it were a regular deal, I'd love to take that. I'd do that all the time. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with me through El Paso, Texas. Hope you enjoyed the view. Hope you enjoyed the view of Mexico. For everybody, again, who's asking about my grandma, she's doing all right. Just spoke with her again this morning, as I do every day. And, exit only lane. And she's doing A-okay. So, anyways, I think that's about it, everybody. Take care. Take it easy. And be safe out there. Laters.